series of NoGi drilling. Brandon wants to work at improving, getting better at guard passing, preferably open guard. And the problem with Jiu-Jitsu, I think, when you start, is it's very overwhelming. There's so much to take in, and I think that's why people quit so much, because they can't take Jiu-Jitsu, right, and just make it into micro drills. In the beginning, you're like trying to take in all the information, right? It's like a child coming into the world, and everything's so fascinating and they're excited about so many things. But then, like, once the world kind of hits them, then you start seeing like the emotions, right, where they're not necessarily happy all the time. And I feel like a lot of people do that with Jiu-Jitsu, right? They come in and they're excited, they want to learn all this, but then they realize how in depth it is or how hard it is, and that they have to lose a lot to get better. And so for me, when I'm teaching people, I'm really trying to micro drill. I'm really trying to focus on one position or one series, and then even just the small movements of that series and that drill. So really with Brandon, I'm just trying to teach him on how to come into the headquarters and how to move his hips side to side, and how to smash his opponent's hips down, and then just flow through that movement. And the hardest part is you're gonna have to drill, and you're gonna have to drill it a lot, and you're gonna have to find somebody that you can drill with, that you're comfortable with, that can communicate with you. And you're gonna have to constantly put yourself, like right now, I'm trying to teach Brandon not to let that one foot be able to come out and get on him, not to let the other foot be able to swing around and get on him. It's really important that you put the time into not letting your opponent get their feet on you, not letting your opponents tie you down. And it's really important that you always have a way to back out or to escape and to reset. And I think that's the hardest part. Where do you put your hands? Where do you put your feet? How do you have your posture, right? Like, and you have to balance between both of those things, right? Like Brandon was really low right there. Now he's getting his butt in the air, and there's a benefit to both of those things. Just where your posture of your hips are, just where your head is, where your hand placement is. And I'm trying to explain to him how to create the exact perfect pressure to keep the hips down. And then you have to look at what the reaction is when your opponent does something, right? That's how fine the details start to get. So yes, I can put my hand on my opponent's hip. Yes, I can try to control that knee, control that hip. But here's the problem, if they're bigger, they're stronger, their height, all those little factors matter. And so not only do you have to drill and get all the techniques right in whatever you're doing in Jiu-Jitsu, you have to, in your head, put in all the factors of what happens if they are stronger, what happens if they can just push you away, what happens if their explosive power is better than yours. And so then you have to, in your head, create all these little contingencies, like, okay, if this is failing, if I can't control his hip, if I can't sidestep, if I can't enter the pocket, what do I do now? And that's the thing with drilling and communicating with your partners, I think, is probably the hardest thing. So learning in class is great, okay? Like, come into class, learn the technique, drill the technique. But coming down to like this right here with your partner, right? That's the hardest part, I think, that as a partner, that we struggle with, right? Like, I don't know the exact words to try to make sure that people kind of understand, but getting a partner that is kind of close to your body type, getting a partner that you get comfortable with, that you drill with, right? So like, if you start Jiu-Jitsu, you're gonna meet people, you're gonna start having people that you maybe like, you don't maybe like, but you're gonna eventually have a partner that you're kind of comfortable with. It's important that you reach out to that person outside the academy and that you communicate to them, right? Because you want them on the mats as much as you can. I mean, right now you guys are in this video game together. Brandon and I are in this video game together, and we've been explaining and questioning technique now for years, and it's grown, right? Like, before, Eric was part of the academy, and for years he counted my reps, and he explained to me where he felt like the pressure didn't feel right or the framing didn't feel right. And now Brandon has stepped up and taken that role, which is really cool, because it's important that if you want your game to evolve to the really fine level, or the to the next stage, right, that you build your partners. Okay, you can come to class and you can learn the technique and you can live roll, but step 3 is building your partners if you want to get your technique to the highest level. Everybody understands how frustrating it is to get a partner who just lays there and lets you do the move. Okay, and everybody knows how frustrating it is to have that partner that resists every move that you do, right? But having the partner that you can have like the exact perfect flow with and communication, and you guys can break down technique and you can explain things and you can analyze things, that's exactly kind of like what Brandon and I are doing right now, right? I'm trying to explain to him how to make sure that he controls my hip, how to make sure he keeps my leg trapped, how to make sure that he's keeping good pressure, keeping me flat, keeping me controlled, and we're even moving. Just right here, we're trying to micro move the body and make sure that we're getting the right pressure, and that's the biggest thing. So keep watching the content, and we're going to work our best to keep getting the techniques better and better.